The rank ladder in ZA Season 3 is littered with restricteds, and I've been racking my brain on what one Pokemon can answer the new big three: Xerneas, Zygarde, and Mewtwo. And I landed on Gengar? This purple ghoul has great coverage and access to a powerful setup move, all while not instantly dying to the main snipers of the format. It has to be careful around the ground Pokemon because one Earthquake from an Excadrill and we're not doing so hot, but that's okay, we can patch that up with the surrounding Pokemon. Gengar sports a solid special attack of 130, and we can further push that damage with a Life Orb or an Expert Belt and click on some plus moves. I give it Shadow Ball for Mewtwo and Metagross, Sludge Wave to eat Xerneas alive, and Icy Wind for those pesky ground dragons. Then I finalize the moveset with a nasty plot to make it really pack a punch. As far as additional coverage this dude also has access to is Dark Pulse, Energy Ball, Psychic, Thunderbolt, Dazzling Gleam, and even Focus Blast. But I just wanted to focus on making it a restricted Pokemon check. I originally started building around Mega Gengar, but I found waiting that long to Mega was not great for Gengar. It thrives in an environment of early pressure and mid-game plus moves. Mega Gengar gets a boost 40 special attack points, but the Expert Belt damage is 20%, which is less, but not by a lot. So this is the set that I started with. Max HP and special attack, and the leftover in defense. Basic spread for a basic attack plan. The first Pokemon I wanted has to be able to deal with specifically Excadrill, but also has to deal with the ice Pokemon plaguing the meta. I wanted something with ground coverage that can hit hard. Also something that can beat through a Geomancy or Calm Mind boosted Xerneas, because once it doubles its special defense, I don't know if Gengar is gonna get through. And it has Brave Bird, which is a great AoE move that can hit most things neutrally. Here's that set. I went for Mega Skarmory because I still feel kinda weird not featuring a Mega or restricted in this game. You can do it, but I didn't. And I went for a basic spread because once again, I don't want to do a ton of calculations for a 4-man free-for-all. I've seen there are relevant speed benchmarks for cooldown, but I haven't learned them. While we're playing ranked and not tournaments, I'm not too worried about maximizing. And for the final Pokemon on the team, I bounced around a lot of ideas, but ultimately landed on Gardevoir. And I started with Mega Gardevoir, but I found myself usually just using Mega as a protect, so I switched to Focus Sash. Funnily enough, the main selling point on this Gardevoir is the Thunderbolt. Picking up snipe knockouts and challenging another restricted Pokemon felt like a big deal. Moonblast always works wonder against the dragon Pokemon, but the scariest ones are 4 times weak to ice, and we kinda got that covered. And lastly, we put Mystical Fire on here for Scizor and other Pokemon like that. Here's the Gardevoir set. I was originally fully invested in HP over speed, but when I switched to Focus Sash, I felt like there was no more need for the HP. So I went and bought 26 Palm Egg Berries individually. Game Freak, fix this please. And then respec into speed. This is the most tentative spot on the team for sure, but Gardevoir has felt like a great option. I kinda miss the Mega Gardevoir, but Calm Mind boosted plus moves still do the trick. This team does feel like it has a lot of answers to just about everything, but some of the answers aren't perfect. One glaring example is Focus Sash Chandelure, where Shadow Ball on Gengar should destroy it, but sometimes a max speed Chandelure can pull off a knockout before you can pick it up. Another kind of annoying thing is Gengar is the answer to Mewtwo, but Mewtwo is also the answer to Gengar, so maybe we rip the Mewtwo matchup and put Thunderbolt on Gengar and have a separate method altogether, maybe even taking off Gardevoir at that point. So this team definitely needs work. Back to the drawing board. Gengar is the build around, so he's the only one that won't change. However, moves, items, maybe even EV spreads can change. As for right now, I thought maybe we let something else deal with Mewtwo, so I swapped out Shadow Ball for Thunderbolt, and we need a team member that can actually deal with Mewtwo, because that's a Pokemon that needs to be dealt with. My first thought was Tyranitar, but that's another ground weakness, which could be fine, but then we have to make sure the last Pokemon can deal with those ground types really effectively. Skarmory is great for that, but also all the best coverage from Tyranitar is stuff we already have. I'm talking Earthquake, Ice Punch, Heavy Slam. Wow, that's all the coverage that I already have. Why isn't this just a build around of Tyranitar? Maybe save that for another day. So, Gengar. Back to square one it feels. I tried a bunch of swapping around and playing games. Nothing felt bad due to the nature of the game. If you have an awful matchup, you can just pick another fight. But that only works so well because people love to take advantageous fights. Anyway, here's all the iterations I took. The first trio I tried was Gengar, Skarmory, Tyranitar, and I found myself having a hard time with Garchomp, and therefore a similar problem with Zygarde. Yeah, that guy that I said I had covered. Well, I kept running into it with screens, or just not taking an OHKO because I can't get a Nasty Plot up without getting hit by a singular ground attack. Also, a lot of Garchomps nowadays are running Focus Sash, so it's kind of hard to always get a knockout with an Icy Wind because it just lives it. So then I thought, okay, maybe Focus Sash. But then I have to go respec again by buying 26 more Palm Egg berries, and I'm getting so tired of Palm Egg berries. This trio felt pretty good, but I'm not set on it. So then I tried some games with Gengar, Skarmory, and Chandelure. And let me tell ya, Chandelure is a broken mon, especially when you give it Sash and Calm Mind setup, powerhouse. But, and this is a big but, I still don't have a good out to Garchomp. So once again, I'm thinking Sash Gengar might be the key, but I don't know if we'll still hit all the benchmarks without Life Orb. And maybe since we won't have a damage boosting item, we have to wait a little bit more for plus moves, because trust me, Gengar hits hard with those plus moves. Also, this team has a very clear weakness to ground. Of course, Skarmory is solid for that, but we don't have something that can live a Garchomp and beat that Garchomp. Anyway, the next iteration I tried even changed out the Skarmory, even though that was a big member. Nothing is forever, and Skarmory has to learn it the hard way. So I tried Gengar, Gyarados, and Garchomp. The 3 Gs. Good game, guy. Anyway, this had a lot of promise. Gyarados can switch in on ground attacks and smother them with Waterfall or an Ice Fang. Of course, we've got Crunch on here for the Mewtwo, and Earthquake is the last move. Maybe it should be Iron Tail? Whatever, this guy's sweet. Then Garchomp, to cover his blatant electric weakness. Also here to take big knockouts on scary Zygarde. And we brought the Sash on the Garchomp to patch up the stupid Glaceon snipes from off screen. Speaking of Glaceon, well, that is the bane of this team's existence. Ice Beam beats Garchomp, and Freeze Dry takes Gyarados, which means Gengar has to deal with it, but stupid Glaceon has Shadow Ball, so it just takes Gengar down. This one stupid Ice Cat takes this whole team out. And one would think that a Focus Sash Garchomp lives an Ice Beam and Stone Edges the stupid Glaceon, but that never happened. It always lived, and I don't know why. Maybe Sash, maybe it's just a buff cat, who knows, cause this team felt like it was incredible. But this stupid Glaceon beats the whole strategy. Maybe I can't solve this team. Maybe I can't surround Gengar with the peers he needs to thrive. I've shuffled around team members countless times now, and I just can't seem to get the perfect team. It's pretty hard to have a perfect team in this game because there's 3 opponents. Prepare for 1, you get destroyed by another. Prepare for 2, you get destroyed by the last. It's impossible to find a team that has 0 weaknesses with only 3 Pokemon, but you can get damn close. This team performed exceptionally. It really has a plan to deal with just about everything. Look at every single Pokemon in the meta, and I have an actionable plan. See, Legends ZA has a completely different flowchart than a regular VGC match. In VGC, you're in a 2v2, so you can make some weird stuff happen to get to your goals. In this, you're in a 4-player free-for-all. You really just need to have a way to knock out every relevant Pokemon. And if you have that, you can probably deal with off-meta Pokemon too. Xerneas, we have Sludge Wave. Zygarde, we have Icy Wind. Mewtwo, Shadow Ball. Glaceon, Heat Wave. You get it. I could list every Pokemon. I'm not gonna list any more Pokemon. The only big problem with this team is there's not really a defensive backbone that you can switch comfortably into. In the biz, we call this hyper offense. I'm not too worried about being defensive and playing a mid-range game. I wanna get in there with a setup move and take some knockouts. All right. Enough yapping. Here is the actual team. We've got Gengar, the build around himself. Sludge Wave, Icy Wind, Thunderbolt, and Nasty Plot. A simple maxed out HP and special attack, with the extra 4 put into physical defense. Holding an expert belt, Chandelure, Heat Wave, Shadow Ball, and Solar Beam, and Calm Mind. Once again, maxed in special attack and HP. The 4 leftover were put into physical defense. This one is holding a Life Orb. We have Garchomp, Dragon Rush, Earthquake, and Stone Edge with Swords Dance. Maxed HP and attack, even though we have a Focus Sash. I think the leftover 4 were put into special defense. It's a little weird, yes, to have a Focus Sash on a guy fully invested in HP, but it's really just a glorified Yachi Berry, to be honest. But it also protects from like Swords Dance Garchomp or whatever. I kind of want to start making more intelligent spreads on these Pokemon. I've seen you can hit some really cool benchmarks, especially in speed for cooldowns, but I just don't really have the competitive bone in my body for this game. We're playing 4-man free-for-alls. This is like Commander, but for Pokemon. That's the video. That's the Gengar video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.